about it. The second one is the lack of perspective. And this is the key thing about being able to get an external perspective. The way the customers, the way the tenants, the way the people that you work with see your business will often highlight a huge difference with the way you see it. And again, I can illustrate that perfectly. Picking up on the standard before. When I first established our little business 5 years ago, I was then, as I am now, and I suspect I will be in future, trying to save as much money as I possibly could in the running of the business. So I was ringing the train company, whichever one it was then, and asking for the cheapest return from Leeds to London. Right? And the lady said, well, you can have a standard return for £154. And I'm thinking, well, we've been through this standard stuff, haven't we? That doesn't sound very exciting at all. That's obviously the base package. Yep. Doesn't sound very exciting. Pushed into a, like a cattle wagon. Everybody crushed together. No decent food. It's the standard experience. £154. I'm not going to be able to afford this. So, but you could have a business saver for £120. Well, that sounds much sexier, doesn't it, than a standard? Oh, it sounds like men in suits with laptops, Progressive people who know how to use an iPhone, who can tweet, that sort of thing. I want to be with that sort of people. That's who we need to be with. Oh, all right, then, let's talk about that one. She says, well, I could do you a first advance for £50. And I thought, is it me? Standard's 154. The sexier sounding business save was 122. And the first advance, which is the best of the lot, is 50 odd quid. I asked her, I said, well, what do I get for first advance? She says, well, you get absolutely everything you would get with a first class ticket. And the thing is, you have to go on the train you booked, though. You can't change trains, and if you change your train, you don't get your money back. I thought, I can live with that. Is there anything I don't get? I mean, are they grumpy with you or something? Because you do get that, don't you, in airports? If you're not in the lounge, you get grumpy expressions. And she said, no, the only thing you don't get is access to the first class lounge at Leeds Station. I thought, that's fine, I can live with that. So I said, right, let's get it all sorted. So I gave her my credit card details, and she said, how would you like to get your tickets? Would you like us to post them to you, or would you like to collect them at the station? And I said, oh, I'll get them at the station. She said, that's fine, sir. You can get them from the machine, or you can collect them from the first class lounge. Now, let's just run through that again, shall we? Let's get to the end. Can you spot the hidden error in that statement? Now, if I was American, it would be, hey, I've got to get my tickets, I'm coming in, I don't care about your rules, give me the tickets. But because we're British, we stand at the door going, because that's what we're like. So you've got that issue of perspective, but it also gives you some interesting, I think this is an area where I really want to get you to think, is it also gives you an insight into how closely you truly are espousing the values that we claim are directing the way we work. Yeah, you familiar with that? Anyone touched on that? Intrinsic values that we have? I think that's very interesting. For example, I'm at a bank the other day. There are 2 out of 3 tills open. There's a market trader with bags and bags of coins at one, and the other one has got a very, very long involved transaction going on. The other one is empty. I'm in a queue for about 13 minutes when all I want to do is to pay a check-in and be charged £4 for paying the check-in. The check was for £4.20, by the way. It was a refund on tax. Yes, exactly. So a pointless exercise. But while I was there, I looked up, and on the side it said helpful banking. For it was the NatWest. And I thought, it's a bit at odds with the experience I'm getting. What's helpful about this experience? Now, they've gone out with a customer charter in the national papers last week, so it'll be interesting. We'll be testing that one again. But think about looking at things through the customer's eyes. I went to a supermarket recently, a very big Yorkshire-based supermarket that rhymes with Basda. I have to be careful, you see, there might be lawyers in the room. And I was feeling a bit hungry at lunchtime, and they had baked potato and they had macaroni cheese. So I walked up and I said, can I have the baked potato with the macaroni cheese? And presumably the same woman from the Merry England Coffee House said, no, love. So I said, no, I'm sorry, just want the baked potato, macaroni cheese. No, you can't have both. You can have these toppings here, love, with the baked potato. Macaroni cheese is a meal in itself. Obviously, not in our household, but, pizza and chips, what's wrong with that? Bit of carbohydrate. So anyway, I thought, well, I'll just have the macaroni cheese. So I walked down the counter, and there's a lady guarding the chips with a spatula. You know how they do that? As you walk past. And I walked past her, and she says, do you want chips with that, sir, or a baked potato? And you think, I wonder whether this is being picked up by mystery shopping. Answer, no. These real-life examples are highlighting the gap between the way the customer sees things and the way that we actually see things as organisations. Now, we can get into some of the internal issues, some of the things that cause us internally not to focus on the customer. And I promise I won't go on for 2 hours, only a few more minutes, but some of the things that you can infer, and of course I know having worked with various businesses, that are preventing this focus internally are things like sticking to the way things are done, that sort of thing. Having people in positions that shouldn't be in positions because they're better doing other things. I mean, one of the best practices I've picked up in recent years is a company in London who lets all the staff work there for 3 months, and then the staff chooses the manager they'd like to work for. You think that's a good idea? Yeah, well, no, I mean, even if it's a different, the manager's an expert in a different operational area, they're going to get more out of them. Then there's a company in the States called Zappos, an online shoe selling company. What they do is, after an employee's worked there for 2 weeks, they're offered $2,000 to leave. This is the point where people's interest usually gets aroused. Where do I sign? What do I do? Their principle behind that is that people after 2 weeks will have come to their own conclusions about whether this job is right for me or not. If we offer them $2,000 to leave now, we reckon that's a huge saving on the financial damage done to the company by having somebody working for us who really doesn't fit the ethos, the values, or want to be here. It's an interesting one.